Gen Z is crashing out. As a 19-year-old, I'm basically the epitome of Gen Z, so
Seems
should be
like
interesting.
millennials and Gen Z are just the most depressed generations ever. It's because we are. But there's a real reason for that.
I'm seeing Gen Z talk about life lately, and honestly, I feel it in my chest, bruh.
Here to tell you there's definitely benefits of working a 9 to 5, such as like insurance, like healthcare. Like you really
Life lately.
Z cannot take it anymore. Check this out.
I'm seeing Gen Z talk about life lately, and honestly, I feel it in my chest, bruh. I feel it. Especially the 2000 babies. I am seeing it. Asking, what's the point? What's the point? What are we working towards? Why are we working nonstop just to barely get by? I feel it. It's heavy. And I'm scrolling through the comments and everybody's saying the same thing. You know, I'm tired. I feel this sense of doom. Nothing feels real anymore. Not just
There's two reasons to this. This is a soul thing, and it's also a material system thing. So, as far as the soul thing goes, I feel like we're gonna get more into that. But what I'll say is that let's just use our brains for 2 seconds. There was one primary institution that everyone submitted allegiance to, let's say 3, 4, maybe even 2 generations ago. And that was the church. And you see, the more we have strayed away from the church, the worse things have gotten. So if you agree with it that Gen Z is the worst generation, you kind of have to look into the worst generation in terms of mental health. You kind of have to look at the causes, right? And one of the biggest differences between Gen Z and the older generations is the church. I mean, you may not like Christianity, you may not like God, all these other things, but I feel like what I'm saying right now is kind of independent of that. I mean, whether you like it or not, that is a fact. Okay, the more we stray away from the church, the worse things have gone. And I want you to think, what has been the atheist, liberal, egalitarian, whatever word you want to use, position? It's that, well, society is better when it's the most free, you can do anything you want, when there's pride, when, you know, all these different type of things, right? Freedom, you know, no social taboos, you know, women can have as many bodies as they want, men can do whatever they want, etc. Aren't we living right now in the most free society we've ever lived in? Free in the sense of lack of social taboos. Like, I mean, 50 years ago, if you were a woman with 50 bodies, I mean, you were basically no one would want to even look in your general vicinity. Meanwhile, you know, now there's influencers with 1,000 bodies talking, right? And being listened to. So this is the most open and free generation. Yet, look at where we're at. So, at a certain point, you kind of have to go, well, you know, this idea we've bought into and we constantly propagate over and over and over again, you know, maybe it actually wasn't a good idea. You know, because, man, imagine things are going well in the business and you change something completely. Like, okay, let's take out this part and change it to something else. And then the business goes terribly. Like, it's pretty obvious what happened. And this is the primary thing that has changed between generations. Now, obviously, there's a material element to where our government is more and more crony, if you will, where it's elite's interest over the people's interest, and that doesn't mean socialism, okay? Because I feel like most people who say that then go like, this is why we need socialism. No, socialism is literally the same problem. I mean, the socialists and communists are so, they're dumb. Because they don't understand, because they go against the bankers. They hate the bankers. The bankers are like the worst people ever, right? Because, you know, those are the people that, you know, benefit from capitalism, whatever. But, you know, the bankers funded socialism and communism. They funded Lenin, they funded Stalin, they funded Hitler. Although Hitler's form of socialism is very different from the type of socialism I'm speaking of. But the point is that the bankers have funded all the stuff that these people support. And they're supposedly against the bankers. And so it's really dumb. But, yeah, those are two elements. Probably get more into that throughout as this video goes on.
just talk, right? It's not just talk. It's a collective heaviness. And I'm 27, right? I'm an older Gen Z, but still Gen Z nonetheless. And I felt this in high school, right? The idea of working a 9 to 5 and then coming home and just entertaining yourself and then repeating the next day. Back then, it was already something in my spirit rejecting that. And now, more and more of us are waking up and asking, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? The American dream ain't a dream no more. The American dream is dead. It's survival. It's exhaustion. It's wild because millennials
Yeah, the American dream has been dead for a long time, and the American dream died as soon as getting a college degree wasn't enough just to get a house. And this is what I talk about I talk to a lot of people who are looking for not are looking for help somewhat, but at the same time they kind of have this teenage attitude towards, well, nothing matters, I'm a kid, I can do whatever I want. And they don't understand that once you turn 18, it's not like a magic switch in your brain where everything changes. Like, oh, well, once I'm 18, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm blah, 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 blah. It's like, that's not how it works. As someone who used to be 17 is now 18, I can say that my brain on the date of my 18th birthday, didn't change much. It didn't change any more than it changed the day before. So, if you're younger and you're watching this, understand that, if you want to do, like, if you imagine your life when you're older as having your own business and making your own money like I do, for example, you have to start early. I started this trying to make money at like 14, 13, right? So, yeah, can't wait. Just gotta do it.
feel it. Millennials feel it. Gen Alpha, they're picking it up. And the boomers, they ain't really talk about it. But now everything's coming to the surface. People are thinking about leaving the country. I don't blame them. I've been having those thoughts myself. Living where life doesn't cost your soul. You know what I'm saying? Living where credit doesn't rule you. Where you don't have to work yourself into a grave just to live decently. And we're up against a lot in this system, right? Let's be honest. Like AI taking jobs, people are already having trouble finding work. Job market ain't good right now. You know what I'm saying? People's benefits getting cut. People in chaos right now. People really going through it, bro. Like I talk to people generally, heart to heart. People are going through it. Don't believe everything you seeing. Not everyone's out here living the glamorous influencer life. You might be doing well if you rich and you live in that life, okay. But for the majority of us, it's not like that.
Yeah, and I feel like this is where information is very important. Everyone always says, like, well, politics don't matter. Politics is just a waste, all this different stuff. And I agree to the extent of, being politically, just worrying about politics 24/7. I agree to that extent, but you need to be informed, because this problem we're seeing here is exactly a result. Like, you could see it coming. Like, if you understood political narratives, what elites write about, history beyond what you're taught in civics class, etc., you understand that what we have now, you could see that coming in from a mile away. Okay? So, that's important because it also helps you stop it. Okay? Because really, everything that has led to where we are now is really just a result of compliance. It's like, the same people go like, oh, well, politics, whatever. And then they fall for a political agenda that leads them to situations like this. So that's why being informed is very important. And you kind of just have to make a decision at this point. And the thing is, making your own money, we have to understand is that America is, I feel like everyone kind of misunderstands how making money works, because they go through the school system where it's like a linear system of, well, I go to school and I get a grade and then, that's it. It's a linear progress to go from first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. And the problem is, making money doesn't really work like that. If you have a regular job, it does, but everyone hates having a regular job. And then they make the mistake of assuming that, well, business isn't for me. Business, we have to understand, is that America basically has a capacity for infinite amount of businesses because there's an infinite amount of problems that exist. Business is really just solving a problem. It's about finding the problem that you can solve uniquely. Because everyone has a unique skill set that they can specifically use to solve other people's problems. And that results in them getting money. Okay? And then, to those who say, like, well, what if everyone had a business? That wouldn't work. Well, guess what? If more people had businesses and were more business-minded, there would be less people to fulfill jobs. And, you know, if they don't just get a bunch of H-1Bs and mass immigrate over here and then just take all the jobs, that will force employers to have better employment terms, higher pay, so on and so forth. So this is one of those things where the solution is each individual person building their own thing up. And if they don't want to do that, then, I mean, you're not playing the game of life. I mean, and this is not something that's necessarily new. I mean, before, you would have to farm your own land, you would have to get your own resources, you have to trade, you have to barter, etc. So, you know, making money now is way easier than getting resources all the way back then. And I would say making money on the whole is as easy as it was 100 years ago when working a regular job could get you a house. But the difference is now that it's kind of, there's a bigger separation. Like, there's no, like, strong middle class. It's like, well, not strong. I guess there's a big difference between people who are independent and dependent. Dependent as in working a job. Because those who are independent are basically reaping all the benefits that were once mostly associated with the dependent. So it's kind of like it flipped, because being independent 100 years ago was very difficult because there wasn't much information, you have to go to college, etc., so on and so forth. But now, being independent is easier than being dependent, so it's kind of like a flip. And people aren't adjusting to it very well.
On top of the political chaos, the talks of war, you know what I'm saying, pandemics and all that, it's a lot. See, I was in the middle of Costco the other day, and I got stopped by a lady. She looked like she was an older millennial, and she was asking me about the rice in my cart. And next thing you know, she's like, I don't even really know what to eat anymore. You know, because it seems like everything here is just, we're being poisoned here in America. The artificial dyes and the preservatives. And
again, if you understood what I said earlier about, like, political agendas, you understand that, well, yeah, they've been talking about that for a very long time.
We're in the middle of Costco talking about it. We confused about what to buy. We don't know what to get. Because it seems like
and the information helps you understand what to actually eat and what to buy as far as that's concerned. So again, this is all information based. You know, if you're not informed, then you kind of just fall to the wayside.
Things just slowly killing us, getting us sick, and having to go get medical bills that are expensive on top of everything else. We are grieving systems that we never asked for, and then we're just expected to keep going like everything's just fine. I mean, even relationships ain't the same no more. Like, relationships, bro. The internet done shifted everything. It's like nobody's really healing. Everyone's just surviving. I'm 27, and it's hard to even imagine.
It's not the internet. It's the forsaking of Christianity. That's really what this comes down to. Okay? Because again, relationships. The problem with relationships now is there's no gender roles. Again, let's be smart. Okay? You say, well, relationships used to be better. Men and women used to get along. Well, what did we used to have? We used to have gender roles. And now that they're completely gone, we have this problem. So again, apply the business example. You had something that was thriving, that was working. You know, you could say there needed to be tweaks, whatever, you know, but generally speaking, it was working. You admit that. And then it doesn't work anymore. And then you're like, well, you know, this big thing that was really the main driving force of male and female dynamics. No, because they fall for the propaganda that it's like misogynistic to say that, right? Like women's rights and whatever. It's like, well, you're not going to get anywhere with this kind of philosophically retarded thinking.
Imagine what my 30s are going to look like. But I do know this. I'm not a pessimistic person, right? I'm a very positive soul. If you know me and you speak to me, you know I like speaking life into people. But when I take an objective look at just what we're dealing with in these systems filled with fear, it is chaos. It is a lot, right? When you really get into it. We're not crazy. We're not crazy. We're just awake.
Wow, a lot of relatable things that guy just said, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people watching this video that probably feel similar to how he feels. And I was reading the comments and it really had me thinking. Like this comment right here, it says, the new American dream is to leave this place. In other words, to leave America. Or even this comment, food makes us sick, the medicine makes us sicker, internet made everybody accessible and make it easier to cheat, make it easier and easier to cheat. Nobody has morals, loyalty, nothing no more. It's a dog eat dog world. Just to go back.
Yeah, like, This is just such a funny, like, and people are suffering, so I kind of don't want to make too much light of it, but like as in joke about it. But what I'm laughing about is like the solution is so obvious. Like every time I hear about the problems these people are having, like, well, Christian culture would fix all these problems, right? And beyond that, Christianity is true as a logical a framework to ground everything, right? So not only is it true, but it's also useful, right? Like all these problems they keep talking about, they're so easily solved by Christianity because they say no one has morals anymore. Where do morals come from? When did people care about morals? About Christianity, because they would say to themselves, my flesh desires to do something, but you know what? I know there's a higher truth, so I should not do it. When you take away this thing that's stopping humans from doing whatever they want, humans, when they are set to do whatever they want, I mean, bad things happen, okay? I think everyone understands that. And when you take this away, it's just all desires of the flesh, and you see that in the world we live in now. So, this is perfectly explained by Christianity, and it's solved by Christian culture.
To the comment that says the new American dream is to leave this place. As a family, America, from a business point of view, from a business aspect. I also understand from a consumer aspect. America is not built off of comfort for the people. It is built off of business. It's not built off of comfort for the people. It's built off of cheap labor and taking the money back. If you don't believe me, look at all of the things that we are taxed for in America.
Taxes are high.
We are getting taxed with income.
Taxation is a result of the new liberal ideas. Okay, if you didn't know, and to all the people who like talk about tariffs are bad. America used to be completely funded on tariffs during like the Civil War era. Now it's true we can't really go back to a fully tariff system to pay all of our expenses, but this whole thing about like, well, tariffs are bad and whatever, it's like, dude, you're an idiot, okay? You don't know history, and also like you support this taxation system, and these people are also dumb. Like, the government's bad. Then they say, well, let's increase taxes. So you're gonna give more money to the government that you hate? Like, all these really dumb ideas that keep getting put
tax.
out.
We're getting taxed with sales tax. We're getting taxed with property tax. We're getting taxed with motor vehicle tax. We're getting taxed with.
I'm sure there's an air tax.
Bro, there's a tax for everything you could, like every aspect of life. Even the money, even after you've got taxed, your taxed money is being taxed in so many different areas, right? Apparently, there's a death tax that happens, right?
You can't even die for free in America.
You can't even die.
Honestly, I think it's truly sad that this is where America is right now. And this is the reality that most of us are living in. And by the looks of politics, it looked like things are only going to get worse. Like, I believe a lot of people in America have this thought that things are going to come back down and things are going to get a lot cheaper. The way I see it is the people that's at the top that are making the money, I don't think they're going to adjust the prices because they've still been able to make money. It's not like people are now not buying groceries. It's not like people aren't still looking and searching for houses. So to them, it's like, why lower the price if the people are still going to buy the stuff? The sad reality is the people at the top are not going to pivot because something is hurting you but benefiting them. That's just how it is. And that's
Okay, so no, that's not gonna. That's economically ignorant. So I think what he's saying would be completely retarded in the proper American like economic system. But I would say he's just economically ignorant. I would tone it down because competition is what prevents that. Right, so the point is that, let's say Walmart and Target, generally Target's more like upper middle class or whatever, but whatever. Let's say, no, Walmart and Publix. Okay, Walmart and Publix appeal to the same audience. Okay, Publix wants more sales of Walmart, wants more sales from Publix. Right, and they both want to make money, so obviously that's a goal. So, what they'll do is very simple, okay? They have their production costs go down, Walmart will lower the prices, then Publix responding will try and match it, and then it'll be a battle of who can have the lowest price will have the highest quality. So, to all these people who say like, well, business, profit, so bad, capitalism. Yes, I agree with the problem with like cronyism and monopolies, but the system, if you profit, that means you provided something valuable to someone else. That's what it means, okay? So this whole like these economic theories that people keep proposing are all stupid.
That's what people mean when they say it's a dog eat dog world. And it shouldn't be like that, but that is how it is. One of the easiest examples that the person at the top really does not care about us is the medicine, the pharmaceutical companies. Like, why are we being given medicine that is going to hook us onto a drug, but never really cure or fix the thing that we initially came to the doctors for? But instead, you're prescribing me a medicine.
That's a good question, but see, like if there was understanding of political agendas, what these people write in history and whatever, it would be obvious why that's the case, right? So this is, again, information.
I got to take for the rest of my life. And if I don't take it, I'm going to become
Wait a motherfucking minute. Let's not forget that y'all are the generation that Gen Z watched lay on y'all mother's, grandmother's, grandpa's couch and got fussed at for not having a job. Y'all talking like y'all had a fucking blueprint. Y'all just not getting off y'all motherfucking ass. If y'all had the blueprint, we wouldn't have to be doing half of the that we doing right now. Y'all supposed to make it easier for the next generation, but y'all spent y'all lives enjoying life. So now
Yeah, I don't. It's kind of dumb to say. Like I keep seeing these people go like, "Well, it's all the boomers' fault. It's the boomers." It's like, yeah, boomers like support some dumb policies like Israel and whatever, but boomers aren't the people you should be directing your anger towards as far as this goes. I mean, first of all, it's unproductive. Second of all, it's not even the right angle to go at. I mean, the people you should actually be directing your vigor towards are laughing at you when you say, "Oh, boomers. Oh, boomers. I hate boomers. Boomers this, boomers that." It's like, okay, yeah, boomers, you know, they don't know how to use a phone. They're, you know. And also, I can't really think of much more negative things to say about boomers, because boomers, generally speaking, are conservative and they're Christian, so I agree with them on a lot of different propositions. But with that being said, I understand where they're coming from as far as, because I could see how they see, like, oh, well, this generation messed up for this generation now. And it's like, well, it's kind of missing the forest for the tree.
y'all are in y'all late 30s, early 40s, doing the same thing that we motherfucking doing. Now we picking up the crumbs to the cake y'all motherfucking ate. You might be seeing a lot of Gen Z and you
is full of people posting videos of them just leaving in the middle of the shift without telling anyone, or just saying, well, I'm just never going to show up to work again. I don't like it. On behalf of all of your coworkers, get fucked. Listen, I get if a job isn't for you. If it's not something you enjoy, maybe you don't enjoy your boss, maybe toxic workplace, or maybe it's just a job field you're finding out you don't like. That's fine. Tell somebody. Say, hey, you know what? This isn't working out. I'm not coming back. Or give a 2 weeks notice, something. But whatever you do, don't just fucking not show up. I've had a few jobs I didn't like. I've had some bosses I didn't like. At the same time, I may not have liked them, but I would still at least give notice before I left.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of explicating the moral thing I was talking about, because the real vicious cycle here, the real danger, I think, in this whole thing is that in response to the perceived immorality of others will also become immoral and selfish. It's all like just selfishness personified. I don't say selfish like, oh, that's selfish, like my fingernails are painted, but I mean selfish in the sense of you see government entities, business entities, etc., acting selfishly without the interests of people. And I think that's a bit more nuanced. I feel that's a bit of a reductionistic way of putting it, but let's say that's definitely how it seems. Yeah, that's definitely how it seems. So I'll say that as perception. And then in response, you act selfishly towards others that are innocent, right? And then those people will therefore act selfishly, and then you create this vicious cycle of an even more degenerate world. So that's one thing we can't do. We can't be selfish in response to selfishness, because that creates a cycle of a very negative cycle. And that's not to say that you can't be rough with people, you can't, use strong language and whatnot, or even be mean sometimes. But it just means that ultimately you should be, because there's a moral good outside of you, should be acting according to that standard, not to your own standard.
I understand things have changed. Not everyone's giving a 2 week notice. You don't have to give a 2 week fucking notice. You just have to give a notice.
You want to know why it seems like millennials and Gen Z are just the most depressed generations ever? It's because we are. But there's a real reason for that. Millennials and Gen Z are honestly the first two generations to see the bullshit for what it was. And not only that, we're the first two generations to actually speak out against the bullshit. Like me, for example. I'm a millennial. I'm a younger millennial. I was born in 1991, which essentially is just 6 years before Gen Z. We were the generation that were told by our Gen X and Boomer parents that if you go to college, get a degree, you graduate, you get a good job, that's all you gotta do, right? So we said, all right, cool. We went to college. We got our degrees and we started to graduate in the late 2000s and early 2010s. And those degrees didn't mean a damn thing. As a result, we looked at our Boomer and Gen X parents like, why the fuck did you lie to us like that? It's not their fault. They technically didn't lie to us because the reality of when they were growing up, yes, degrees actually matter. In fact, a lot of our parents got turned down for jobs because they didn't have degrees. They just didn't know that the world would change right as they were telling us that. Bro, we are really the transitional guinea pig generation. Like when I was born, VHS and cassette tapes were popular. But when I graduated college, we had already started to transition into fully digital media libraries. Literally everything ended and began with my generation. Millennials grew up with so many promises that we all thought we were going to be straight if we just followed the formula. That was never the case, bro. So now here we are in our early 30s.
I think this is positive because, again, people are now understanding the effect of the cause that, I mean, I haven't been in this industry for like 50 years, like some, well, not 50, like 20, 10, 30 years, like some other people that I listen to. And, you know, picked ideas from all these different places. But this is kind of unnecessary. This is like a big turning point, right? So either they see the truth, the cause of this effect they're talking about, and they realize because it's right in front of their faces, or they diverge and go the other direction that the cause ultimately supports. So like, this is like communism, socialism, anarchism, etc. These are all not solutions to the problem, although on the surface they seem to be. The solution, ultimately, I think first and foremost is Christian culture, but it's also being informed. Because when you're informed, these government policies that are, you know, these people are recognizing are not good for them don't work anymore. Because they all presuppose compliance in order to be effective.
These mid-30s, late, some of us even in our early 40s now, still don't own homes, still in apartments, still kind of just winging it in life. And it's even crazier is the fact that the government still sees millennials as children, not realizing that the oldest millennial is in their fucking 40s, bro. We're depressed because we're in a stagnant state. You know what I'm saying? We have not been able to grow. Most millennials' lives honestly have not changed over the last 10 years. You might make a little more money than you did back in 2014, but your living circumstances and all that kind of shit, most likely, it ain't really changed much. Still living in an apartment, you either got the credit score for a house, but you don't got the income, or you got the income, but you don't got the credit. And then with the interest rates being so crazy, it's honestly cheaper to rent a house than it is to buy one. Not to mention that millennials and Gen Z are the generations that just been bombarded with information for our entire lives. Like, yes, awareness is good, but listen, man, too much of anything is a bad thing, and too much awareness definitely takes a toll on your mental health, man. Like everyday war.
I think that's also well, hold on.
Genocide, famine, gas prices, interest rates, job market. We know too much is overwhelming. Everything's
Well, I feel that's kind of contradicting to what I said earlier. I get the point about too much information, right? There's kind of a sweet spot in any industry where you know stuff, but you also kind of don't care too much, right? You don't think about it too much, and that's kind of where you're the best, right? It's almost like a bit of a flow state. So I understand the point there, but you have to understand that being bombarded with crap information does that, not good information. So the problem isn't necessarily information, the problem is quality of information.
It's expensive now. When I was in college, I used to go to McDonald's and get a McDouble, a McChicken, a large fry, and a sweet tea for $5.35. I put that same meal in my McDonald's app cart the other day. That motherfucker was $12. And our parents had the audacity to ask us, did we have McDonald's money back in the day? Motherfucker, you mean $4? So yeah, man, if it seems like millennials and Gen Z are just the most depressed and cynical ass generations, it's because we are. For a lot of valid ass reasons. None of us know what the hell going on. We just out here
The
winging.
direction that you choose in life, the things you choose to do, and the things you choose not to do, at this point, is life or death. Whether that's eating healthier so you can avoid the drugs that the doctors are going to try to give you, or maybe even stepping out of the American dream and really pursuing the dream that you've created for yourself. Or if you ever had an idea in the back of your mind how you can elevate yourself to the next level to possibly escape the trap or the maze that the people at the top are trying to put you in.
Yeah, I think the solution is Christian culture, being informed, and opening your own path. That's the only solution to this. And if people don't like that, then, you're just going to be like a feather in the wind.